So guys, I want to talk about Errol Spence. You know, I made a video earlier on saying that Errol Spence called out Canelo. I think Errol Spence needs to focus on his own division. I think he needs to focus on Terence Crawford. That's the fight that people want to see. Not him moving up 2 weights to fight Canelo. There's other fights out there for Canelo that people would rather see. You know, yes, Errol Spence and Canelo would be tuning. Of course we would. It's a massive fight. It would be a great fight. A fight which I think Errol Spence would lose, but it would still be a fight that, you know, a lot of people would tune in for. But I think Errol Spence is not even, he hasn't even crowned himself the best welterweight yet. He needs to fight Terence Crawford. I think he needs to have all his attention on Terence Crawford. You know, he's got to get through this Porter fight, which isn't going to be an easy fight. You know, Errol Spence has got a lot of cleaning up to do. I don't like to see guys jump up when they haven't even cleaned up in their own division. Mikey Garcia wasn't even crowned the best lightweight in the world because he hasn't faced Lomachenko, and he decided to move up 2 weights to fight Errol Spence, which was crazy. You got to first crown yourself king in your division first before you can make a bold move like that. There's too many people moving up weight classes like that, and they're not even crowned king in their own weight division. If you were crowned king and there was nothing for you to, like Crawford, for example, Crawford unified, became undisputed light welterweight champion. Then he moved up to welterweight. Fair enough, he's achieved everything. He's conquered everything. Then he can move up. Errol Spence is just an IBF champion right now. There's a lot of clout around Errol Spence. You know, a lot of hype around Errol Spence. But he's only IBF champion. He's only IBF champion. He's not a unified champion, you know. A lot of people want to give someone like, you know, Kell Brook or even Khan. Kell Brook was an IBF champion. Amir Khan was a unified champion. In my opinion, he's achieved more than Spence at this given minute. Although Spence is rightfully one of the best fighters in the world, but it's all through the eye test. Through achievement, you couldn't say that because he's only an IBF champion. He's never even been unified champion. You know, so he's got to first become unified champion, undisputed champion, before we start giving him these kind of titles, and before we can see him move up and fight Canelo, you know, who's won major titles at 154, you know, 160, won a title at 160. You know, the guy's done a lot. You know, Spence hasn't done anything anywhere near what Canelo's done in the sport. So, you know, Spence shouldn't get ahead of himself. He's still got a lot to accomplish in the welterweight division. I think if he was to fight Canelo or Crawford, I think he loses to both of those guys. I think he loses, but he needs to focus his attention on Crawford because that's the fight people want to see. That's the fight people want to make. And Errol Spence needs to do all he can to make that fight. Because until he beats Terence Crawford, no one's going to say he's the best welterweight in the world. It's as simple as that. He's got to beat Terence Crawford to be crowned king in the welterweight division. If he doesn't fight Terence Crawford, he cannot walk around saying he's the best welterweight in the world. And that's just how the cookie crumbles. You know, he has to beat Crawford to say he's the best welterweight in the world. And likewise, Crawford has to beat Errol Spence to be considered the best welterweight in the world. Just like he was considered the best at light welterweight because he beat everybody. You know? But I will say this, if there's anybody that's not fighting Crawford, Crawford wants that fight more at the minute because Crawford hasn't got anyone to fight, you know. Errol Spence has got others to fight. So, you know, Errol Spence is going to fight Sean Porter, hopefully beat Sean Porter, becomes a unified champion. And then he needs to fight, not look at the Thurman-Pacquiao winner, he needs to then look at Crawford. The Thurman-Pacquiao fight's easy to make. It can be made like that. That fight can happen after. But the Crawford fight needs to happen next, really. Ideally, towards the end of the year, or maybe start beginning of next year. That fight needs to happen, really. If not, then you're probably looking at a fight that's not going to happen in a very long time. And it would be disappointing for the fans. It'd be, you know, it would stink for the fans. It would be, you're basically conning the fans, not giving them the fight that they want to see. And we don't want another Mayweather-Pacquiao. Both these guys, you know, Spence is near 30, Crawford's 31. You know, we don't want to see 4 or 5 years down the line these two fight. No point. You know, Spence is already a very big guy. He's probably going to have to move up. So we need to see this fight in the next year, 12 months maximum. No more than that. But leave your thoughts, guys. What do you guys make of it? Do you think Errol Spence needs to focus his attention on Terence Crawford rather than think about Canelo? Leave your thoughts, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.